Welcome to Tomlin's Harmonica podcast. I'm your host Tomlin, and this is the place to be for a variety of harmonica-related content, including interviews, lessons, and discussions about all aspects of harmonica playing. This podcast is brought to you by the Tomlin Harmonica School, where I provide a step-by-step curriculum for beginners to advanced intermediate players, as well as personalized feedback and all the resources you need to get better at blues harmonica. Go to tomlinharmonicaschool.com to get your first month for $1 using the promo code PODCAST. This week's guest is a fantastic multi-instrumentalist from Byron Bay, Australia. He plays up to 6 instruments simultaneously, including drums, percussion, guitar, and of course, harmonica. And sometimes he even does this while juggling. He is the inimitable Juzzie Smith. How are you doing today, Juzzie?
Yeah, I'm really well. Lovely to hang out with you, Tomlin.
Oh, and you, I'm so pleased. When I started doing the podcast and started asking people who they wanted me to get on, your name came up time and time again. So I'm very excited that you're doing this.
Nice.
So for people who don't know kind of where you're from and all that kind of stuff, will you just give us a little bit of a background?
Wow. Well, I was brought up in Canberra, and that's where I started playing music. Because when I was 13, I fell in love with the blues, and I was playing guitar, and my guitar teacher played harmonica as well, and he taught me these great things about harmonica, that if you use your ears, you can find the notes. And yeah, he was a really good teacher. He really made learning fun and made my ears expand so I could just learn any instrument, really once you sort of understand music. But then when I was about 18, I moved up this way, up north, where I still live now. It's very beautiful up here. I don't know if you've ever been to Canberra, anyone, but Canberra's nice for a while. But it's, it's a nice, I like surfing, so it's really lovely up here. And since I moved up here, have a family, and when I became a father, I became a one-man band. I was always sort of like a one-man band because I was always teaching music from the age of 16.
Mm-hmm.
So you might know what it's like. You're sort of teaching someone a harmonica groove, but then you want to put backing behind it. So you're playing guitar and you're teaching them the harmonica at the same time, and they're trying to learn it. And it's really a great way to get coordinated without knowing that you're getting coordinated.
Yeah, I'm so impressed because I do know exactly what it's like, but I never made that step. I always just used a loop pedal for the guitar because I couldn't concentrate on guitar and harmonica simultaneously. And then I watch you and I was like, wow, what am I supposed to do? How does that even start?
I think it was handy doing it from an early age, not thinking, just having to do it. Because I don't know if they had pedals back then. That was a while back.
Fair enough. And I'm going to bring this back into kind of current time context because I mean you normally tour around quite a lot, don't you?
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
And so how have you dealt with the last 6 months?
Well, it was interesting because I was really feeling like having a break.
Okay.
So I think I'm responsible for what's going on.
You're to blame.
Yeah, I'm the one to blame. So yeah, I was actually going, it'd be so nice to have just some time just to chill out and rest, because touring is quite tiring because you're always changing time zones if you're going overseas. And and I just really wanted to have some more time in the studio and just more time gardening, simple things like that, more time with the family. And it all happened.
Yeah.
So this is how it is at the moment. And it's a bit weird because now it's like I think I'm ready to start touring again.
Yeah, there's an itchiness, isn't there? You're kind of like, I've not played in front of people for a while.
Yeah, and it's sort of like nerve-wracking going, how do you do that again? Yeah, so but I'd been watching my YouTubes going, yeah, I'm okay. I think I'll just have to do it like that.
Yeah, definitely. So you've been doing some gardening and getting out into nature, but have you been working on any new kind of musical projects during the lockdown?
Yeah, well, while the lockdown was on, I was mixing because I had all these great live recordings from last year. So I mixed 17 because I have my own studio at home. And that was a real big project because I don't know if you ever mixed music, but you got to go right into every instrument and fit them all together and make sure they're all balanced. And that was really fun. Great project because I learned so much about my own sound. But yeah, I released that. So that was a live album that I released in June. And yeah, I was just really stoked with how it all came together, and just the recordings were amazing. So it was surprising to hear yourself and go, wow, I think I've got myself sounding pretty good.
Very cool. That's awesome. I will
Yeah.
link that up in the show notes for people who want to check out the album, because it'll definitely be worth listening to.
Mm.
So you've started playing a little bit. You're doing some gigs now, aren't you? Now that things are easing.
Yeah, I had to change tours a couple of times because they keep closing the border here, and that means we can't go to do shows, and it's like so frustrating.
Yeah.
So I put a lot of my shows back to next year, but yeah, it's opened up again. So we're going to start tour, just doing small little tours,
Hmm.
local little ones, but it's going to be fun. Can't wait.
Very cool, very cool. All right, so I want to go back in time a little bit and kind of get a little bit more of the origin story, because you say that you started playing when you were 13. Did you come from a musical family, or was it just something that came to you?
Yeah, my mum was really musical. She was more like reading music, but from a young age, she was sort of forced into music. So it
Mhm.
was a different approach to music. And I'm the youngest of four children, and parents sort of pushed all of us kids into music, except for me, which is amazing because I was the youngest, and they'd sort of given up on the other kids because I think the fact that they got pushed into trying to learn something, they didn't really want to do it. And the teachers weren't so passionate
Hmm.
about teaching. So it sort of didn't make music joyful for them. Whereas for me, I just listened to Mum loved Elvis, and I went, wow, this is cool. And then I used to I watched this TV series, I can't remember what it was, but it was about Elvis being young and going to all the blues, sneaking up to the blues juke joints. And
Nice.
I just went, wow, this is cool music, you know? So then I started listening to who Elvis listened to, and I was just fascinated with the blues. And then I got a great guitar teacher. And then when I was 17, or 16, I joined this amazing blues band up here because there's not many great harmonica players. And I was pretty good at that age. And I was getting snuck into all these venues because they were a blues band playing all professional gigs, and I was just only the young harmonica player that had to be snuck in the back to get in. And it was an amazing learning curve because
Hmm.
they were so great, and really they just gave me heaps of cool music to listen to. And I just remember when I got my license, I used to drive everywhere with my harmonica.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know if it's illegal, but I used to play everywhere I drove.
Yeah. Oh man, I have so many students who say, "Oh yeah, I always practice when I'm on the commute to work." And it's like I can't condone this. I'm really happy that you're practicing, but driving one-handed, it can't be a good idea. But then I come from a country where we're much more densely packed in, so you kind of need to you don't have those long stretches of road where you're driving without coming across other people. So maybe it's different in Australia and parts of the States, but
Yeah, some of our drives are like 10 hours long, so it's like I need something to keep
yeah.
me going.
That's
And
good practice
10 hours
time.
of playing harmonica, whew, you feel that in your lips.
Yeah. So long as you're not, playing harmonica and juggling and doing the drums while you're driving, just
Yeah, yeah, no, just harmonica. Yeah, yeah, I don't do it anymore, but yeah, I still remember that because I just was so in love with the instrument. It's awesome.
That's very cool. And what kind of harmonica players got you excited? Kind of in the early days, what records were you listening to?
Probably the main one was Little Walter because I remember hearing the song Duke, and my guitar teacher said, "All right, see if you can work out the first line." It was like, "Do-do-do-do-do." And I thought it was just three notes. I went do do da da, and he
Yeah.
said, "No, no, this is how many notes. It's do 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 da da." And I was like, "Man, there's a lot of notes in that line," and it just made my ears open to wow. And then he used to get me to learn and play back the whole song, and it took me a while to work it out, but it was such a great way of learning all all of what's in these songs. I went, wow. And then, once you can train yourself, you can learn from everyone. So for acoustic, I love Sonny Terry. He had a great style.
Mm,
He had just this uniquely amazing way of using his voice and tongue. And yeah, it was very impressive. But there
nice.
were so many, like Alan Wolf, there was Big Walter, he was cool as too. And Sonny Boy Williamson, he was amazing. And yeah, those guys were probably my main ones.
Very cool. I like that you've taken all those influences, and I can definitely hear a lot of things like Sonny Terry and that kind of very rhythmic country blues thing. But you've not just done the revivalist, I'm going to play like they played in the 50s and 60s. You've done your own thing with it, which is very, very cool. How did that first kind of start happening? How did you start discovering your own voice?
I used to listen to other players. Like I didn't listen just harmonica. I listened to a lot of saxophone and trumpet players, and that was really cool for finding lines. So I had this technique where I'd hear a cool line, then I'd try and sing it, because if you could sing it, you knew the notes, and then when you sing it, then you try and find those notes that you're singing. And sometimes a harmonica, you got to do a lot of bending to get those notes. It was really tricky because you got to be really refined on just making it sound sweet. And but yeah, and sometimes like trumpet players, they have a really beautiful sound. I'd try and sound like a trumpet on the harmonica. That was pretty cool fun.
Yeah.
But and I think I got more my own sound when you hear like people like I really enjoyed Moby when he first had that Play album, and it had like blues music, but just like it was dance music, and it was just repeated grooves. And I was like, man, this is like such a cool way to mix blues into dance. And I just listen to things and just make up my own sort of, because if you can say something that you like, you can play it, if you know what I mean. I just hum cool lines and go, what if I can play that on the harmonica? And so I wasn't really playing just stuff on harmonica. I'd sort of be singing stuff going, that's awesome. And then I just, if I could work out those notes, I go, that's cool. And then I put some chords under and go, that's super cool. And someone like Moby, they're just playing the same thing and just moving the chords underneath it. And it's like, man, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
So simple, but really, really effective.
Yeah, I really like that approach. It kind of, it liberates you, doesn't it? You don't have to have this kind of incredibly complex harmonic structure underneath you. If you just kind of think about groove and layering things, and then maybe shifting the chord support underneath to change how things sound. But yeah, you can get a lot of mileage out of that, definitely. Very cool. So I read that you did kind of start playing in bands, and then you kind of transitioned into the one man band thing. How did that happen? And why did you make that choice?
I was in bands a lot, actually. I had great bands and had an amazing time. It just got tricky because when I became a father, late nights aren't really an option, because you're waking up so early, 4 or 5 in the morning. And it was like much. So then I went, I've just got to put all my talents together. I was, pretty good on guitar, and I had all this skill with my feet. So I just used to use a suitcase, actually, when I first started, to kick as a drum.
Nice.
And I had a tambourine, I think it was. That was all on my right foot. And I went, I can just go to the local markets, and just turn up and cut, a few CDs of my music and see if they sell. And it was amazing, like the response from word go.
Yeah.
Like first time I took 10 CDs out, and man, I sold them in half an hour, and that was like $20 each. I went, I just made $200 in half an hour. Damn, that's better than doing a whole gig, traveling 3 hours away.
Yeah.
And then, coming home so tired, and then going, I made $150.
Yeah.
So I went, maybe I can become a musician and support my family. This is awesome.
Yeah.
So that's how it started.
That's brilliant. And I remember, so I started out busking and then went into bands. So I kind of did it the other way around. But I remember kind of the first time going out, and you've played in Edinburgh. I've seen videos of you playing on the Royal Mile. I used to busk on the Royal Mile every day, and
awesome.
Just that thing of, wow, I made like 20 pounds, which is not really enough to sustain much of anything at all. But I was 23 and still, just graduated, and it didn't really matter that, I didn't have many responsibilities at that stage. I was like, this is amazing. This is the best thing ever. It's great. You feel quite liberated because, you've taken control of your own destiny. You go out and play, you make money.
It's amazing. And you get that connection with people, which is beautiful. People stop and they smile, and kids, sometimes they can just be the most joyful things ever.
Yeah.
Just dancing around you and just free. And it's like, it just brings everyone together. It's magic thing.
Definitely. I couldn't agree more. I saw that you, well, I think that we're probably quite simpatico on this front, that you love playing in venues that are kind of less focused on drinking and more kind of family friendly. I was wondering kind of what the best places you found, kind of what kind of countries have been really good for that kind of all-inclusive environment.
I did a really cool little tour through England over there.
Uh-huh.
Like I landed in Edinburgh and then I drove south to South Wales, and just people put on gigs for me, like in halls.
Mm-hmm.
And man, that was so special because it was packed. Like you'd have 150 people or something in these tiny halls and these tiny venues where there was just no room for anyone to move. But no one made a noise, I could hear myself breathing, things like that. You could hear someone walking to the toilet if they had to go. It was really beautiful. Yeah, so awesome over there. You guys are great. And Germany's awesome. Australia is great. Like I really like doing ticketed shows because people, when they buy tickets, they're more to come to the show. So it can be on and off depending the venue, but good music venues, they usually, that's just the way people go. Okay, we paid, we want to see a great show. And
nice.
Yeah. So
how do you find the kind of the transition between doing a show to an audience that are staying to watch you for the whole duration versus playing on the street where people walk past and stop and watch and then carry on walking? It's a different vibe, isn't it?
it's totally different. Yeah, like on the street, it's a different art because you want to draw people in real quick, have some fun, and within 10, 15 minutes maybe know that they've got to move on. So you want to just say, hey, I've got a CD if you want to take this music with you. And people, if they really dig what you do, quite often would back then when CDs were selling.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you'd have these short shows, and when you do just more intimate songs, people don't really stop. It's more captivating people. And when you do shows, ticketed venues, you can do those songs and tell stories, and people are there, and you can just blow them away with the intimate beauty of a song.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so totally.
I've seen some great performances up on YouTube of you playing, and I love when you introduce the band. I think that's one of the best things ever. And for people who haven't seen Juzzie play, Juzzie plays by himself, so introducing the band is going through all the limbs and rhythm section and harmonica and everything, and it's so much fun. Yeah, no, I really love that.
Yeah, I just noticed when I was in Germany, was that last year? The year before, 2018. Yeah, I had such a great time there. What a cool bunch of people they are. But yeah, someone filmed my one-man band there. That one sort of went a bit viral on YouTube. I think it's 4 or 5 million views, but that was a good one. I look at that back and go, man, I was onto it. Because I'm just, I don't really have a set way of doing things. I just sort of know what I'm gonna share. But they were so into it.
Yeah,
it was just so fun and easy.
Yeah,
so it was a cool gig.
But I think that's people respond to that. The reason people love that video is because it's clear that it's natural and free, and you see some bands that are kind of just so stage managed, and that it looks exactly the same every single time they play. And there's something quite cool about that in its own way, but when you see someone who's just kind of loose and relaxed and totally in charge of the performance and doing what they feel in the moment, that's really special.
It's very true, yeah, and that's sort of been good for me, but also tricky because I'm always just playing the same song but differently. all the time. So I've only got a few songs to try to know how to lock them in exactly the same. The rest of the time, I'm sort of winging it a lot.
Yeah.
It can be quite tricky because actually on the Royal Mile, I did this song and someone filmed it on an iPhone, and that was still the most viral video I've ever had. That went to something like 80 million people. And that was just crazy because I was just mixing two songs together because the Royal Mile for Edinburgh Fringe Festival, but you're there for 30 days playing most of the day, every day. And I just remember going, I've only got one guitar here. I'm just going to have to make songs and just mix things together. And anyway, this one song I mixed together and went really well. And someone filmed it, put it on their YouTube, and then other people grabbed it. And then 8 years later, it went viral. Like someone posted and said, wow, check this out. And I was like, wow. And then people say, oh, can you record that? And it's like, not really. It's like spontaneous. Like I can't capture that same thing. Yeah. It's tricky.
Yeah.
I can do a version, but not the same. It's like, that was special.
But I think that's very true to the tradition, especially the blues tradition. We listen to Duke and we're like, wow, this is amazing. But then you listen to live versions of Duke and it's not the same every single time. That was just the take that made it onto the record that we all know and love. And there's that amazing mistake in the second 12 bars. Like the first 4 bars, the one chord has some very weird kind of 3-beat, 2-beat, 4-beat long bars, and just like, what are we doing? And then it carries on as it should. But it's great because that was the version that was the seminal version, and I like that. I like that things are different each time.
Yeah, so do I. Sometimes you do this gold stuff, you just go, wow, I hope someone filmed that. That was awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Well, I've got some questions for you from my students. So these are going to be a little bit more kind of technical on how you play and stuff. So one of my students is a big fan, and they've got a foot tambourine, and they're trying to improvise a kick drum with a suitcase, and they just wanted to know how you got started doing foot percussion while playing harmonica, and do you have any kind of good advice for someone looking to incorporate it into blues standards?
Yeah, there's definitely ways of simplifying it. So with your feet, you don't really want to think about what you're doing, because if you think about what you're doing, you've got 3 or 4 things open and you're just not going to go anywhere. So you got to get your feet into a groove. Just a simple, like if you do the 4 on the floor, like, and the tambourine might be on the 2 on the floor, so you got that, that's a real simple one. But then you might, with blues, like you might be, the best way I'd say is to sort of just sing stuff. Try and sing before you start playing an instrument, because singing is a bit more less thinking and trying to find notes. But I'd recommend then just start simple with little melodies like boo doo 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 doo, where you got the beat going, like da 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 da. Start simple. Da, 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 da. Then you can try and find that on the guitar or harmonica or whatever it is you do. Or if you got a guitar, you can strum. Da, 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 da. Just on the 1 beat,
Yeah.
1, 2, da, da, da. And then you do the 2. Da, 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 1, 2, da, 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 da. You can have a stop. 2, 3, 4, and ring it. Da, 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 da. Then you can strum,
Yeah.
It's that thing of just keeping it really simple. And like I was just singing the same thing over and over then. So that could be what you might do on the harmonica. Or like I was saying before, just sing something and just be confident with what you're singing. Once you're confident with something like that, you can sing it over and be like, wow, this is quite groovy, and I'm not even playing the harmonica. Then sort of, I think it locks in your body, and then you can apply it to the harmonica. But the harmonica, as you know, like you just got to get comfortable with knowing how to get the notes, because it's just, especially when neck crack on, it's like trying to move around. It's quite tricky.
Definitely. Well, so that's the next question is looking for any tips on rack playing that you have.
Yeah, actually, it was funny the other day. I'm always mucking around, even now, like after all this time of doing it. I realized my rack, if you if you push it onto your chest, so your chest comes out a bit, but if it's just sitting out, that puts all pressure on your neck.
Mm-hmm.
Really uncomfortable because I have a microphone in mine, so it's quite heavy. But if you have the rack, I bent it so that it was bending and just all leaning on my chest. So that way it was taking all the weight to here and just sitting there. It was amazing. It was like, wow, this is like not putting all this pressure on my neck. And I thought, oh, it's only taken me whatever 20 years to work that out. Yeah. And but I sort of just lock it in there because it wants to. You want it to be stable because if it's all loose, it's just going to be like, whoa.
Yeah.
And you don't want to do that when you're playing because you'll really get bad headaches and put your neck out. So it's more like having your chest up. And because if you're doing that, like the mic will be down there and just hurt your neck. But if you have your chest up, like the mic is there, and then when you sing, it's going to sing. So you want to find your sweet spot. So it takes ages. I'm still trying to find my sweet spot. So, you know, cool. And different, everyone's got different shaped necks and heads and shoulders. So just sort of muck around with different holders and see what works for you. I think I've got a Lee Oscar holder. I thought they were pretty cool.
Nice. Just very, very quickly, I'm gonna interrupt because we're not recording video, so I just want to describe the position that Juzzie had. Basically, he was saying, don't kind of bend your head down and kind of collapse into your chest to play in the rack. Try and kind of keep a good kind of upright position as much as possible. Obviously, there's going to be a bit of bending forward because that's just the nature of the beast, isn't it?
Yeah, it's true, you know, but never put up with a headache. They're not worth it.
No, definitely not. So you said that you use a microphone on your holder, and one of my students said, how did he retrofit a vacuum cleaner attachment as a harmonica holder? I'm not sure you are using a vacuum cleaner attachment, but tell us if you are.
The secret ingredient is called gaffer tape.
Nice.
You can tape anything. Like when I first started, I used to have a bullet and I used to just hang it off the microphone and then I'd gaffer tape over it because it acts like a cupping effect. Like when you cup a harmonica, it changes the sound. So, for example, if I'm talking, it comes through like this, you know, it's like, and then you open your hand, it's a different sound, then you close it, and it's different. So to get that cupping sound, it's pretty cool because it just gives you that bluesy sort of effect. And also it stops feedback too, I found, like, because all the other sounds coming from, if you're playing on a stage, it stops all those sounds getting in because it's all enclosed. But yeah, that's just, that's a cool mic. I don't know if you've heard of those, Ultimate 57. That's by Blows Me Away Productions. Yeah, great. That's different one. That's a small one, hey?
So this is the Butterfield mic, but it's still done by the guy who does the Ultimate 57. I think it's a 545, if we're going to get super nerdy.
Oh, man, I got to get some more. Like, I've got 3 of those Ultimate 57 because I love them so much.
They are brilliant. Very cool. So someone else was asking about your awesome beatboxing and harmonica tutorial that you did on YouTube, which he said is the best that he found, and was just wondering if you have plans on doing some more educational content on YouTube.
Yeah, right. That's interesting because I the more I've been at home, I really love teaching because I taught for 10 years and I love teaching. And I think just having this break, I've realized that, you know, it's definitely something I want to do. And it's just, and my son, I was just talking to him today because he's really good with, you know, videoing and doing the technical side of things where I'm a bit slow. And yeah, it's like, we were just talking about that today. So I think definitely, you know, because I want to just share as much as I can because I sort of play everything, I realize, and I'm pretty coordinated. So it's amazing ability to be able to play piano, play harmonica, sing and do beats at the same time. That's a whole cool sound too. And so just, and to me, it's like, this is easy. I can totally show anyone how to do this, you know, and if you've got a family of 3 or 4, then you can all just do one instrument each and then just swap it around.
Brilliant.
So I'd love to do that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that will make a lot of people happy because other people were asking if you would. They've listed specific songs that they want tutorials on. So there is a definite demand
Yeah, nice. I was in South Africa when I did that beatbox tutorial because someone said, "Man, I just really need some hints on what you're doing." I said, "All right, I'll do a tutorial. I'm just in the hotel." So, but I said the wrong harmonica. I said, "Oh, this is on an E flat,
Yeah.
low tone," but it was on a low F.
All right.
So people, yeah, so I would have confused them because I was listening later, going, "God, I'm kooky." But yes, but that's cool that people got a lot out of that. That's awesome. Love it.
Very cool. You said you were using a low F. Another student wanted to know if you recommend sticking to the lower key harmonicas for the kind of simultaneous rhythm and harmonica thing.
Yeah, for me, the low tones are great for, the cruisy songs, the beatbox, the the BPM sort of about 100 beats. But then you got the higher harmonicas there, so they for me feel a bit faster and they're just so different. But I love the low tone harmonicas. They just got such a cool groove. Yeah.
Very cool. All right, I have one final request from one of my students, which is it's quite a general one, but I think we'll all enjoy. Which is we'd love to have you share your insights into rhythm, groove, and timing.
Okay, rhythm, groove, and timing. All right.
Just big ones.
Yeah, that's good. Well, you can look at it like, see an African walking. You get just see how they walk, man. They've got rhythm. They got this timing and they got this groove happening, and it's just them walking. So you can tell that there's something going on there, that they're being brought up with music. It's in their body. So I think that's so important to have music in your body. So say when you're walking along, you just, you just feel. You just that's your beat, your feet are your beat. You just got this. If you listen to music, just see if you can find some music with just good steady pace, like of your walking steps, and just go, wow, man. And then you can just tap while you're walking, and you got this timing, and you just sort of feel music. And for me, it's everything's about groove, really, and timing and feeling, because it just puts it all together and just makes it feel natural. And you have to do it like with something like walking, because that's natural for everyone. But then you have to think about it. A lot of people walk, and if they walk past someone, they'll walk differently. They go, oh, and then they'll think, I have to straighten my back.
Yeah.
But, if you walk with a groove, you're probably not going to have any aches or pains, because the whole body's sort of floppy and it's feeling lovely, It's just like, yeah. Nice. So I think just simple things like that you do every day. Just walk with a groove, feel the timing, and, enjoy it.
I think that is perfect insight, and it's a recurring theme that I've had with every player and teacher I've spoken to. It's this work away from the instrument. It's kind of listening and feeling without actually necessarily playing an instrument. That's so important for internalizing musicality.
That's so true. Like I hardly ever actually practice, maybe half an hour a day the most. But when you think about it, you're walking, and when you're driving, you're whistling, you're humming. So you are actually practicing a lot more, just not with your instruments. And it's so cool,
Definitely.
because you don't have to be sitting down having this guitar on your lap. And sometimes when you have only 15 minutes a day to play, it's like the most awesome thing ever, because it's like, wow, this is such a treat. And you make the best little tune up. And I always have my iPhone with me so I can record stuff. That's cool. So I can listen back and go, oh, that was good. I'll turn that into a song.
Brilliant.
That's good too. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you so much for spending some time with us today. It's been a real treat. Before we say goodbye, where's the best place for people to find out what you're working on and learn more about you?
So I post stuff on Instagram and Facebook. They're both linked. So that's probably the easiest one for me, because, I just pop it on there and it just goes to people.
Cool.
But YouTube, I'll be doing more on my YouTube channel soon, as you say, like with lessons, and I just like to share it through all those avenues, and probably those ones really. My website always has my tour dates and things like that. So
nice.
That's just my name, juzziesmith.com.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'll link all that stuff up in the show notes. And actually, I've got one more personal request. Is there any possibility of you planning to come back to Edinburgh at some point?
Yeah, I really want to. I get asked a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait, actually. So I was talking to a guy about maybe next year, but I'm not sure. You just never know with the current situation. Like, yeah, we didn't even have planes flying overseas at the moment from Australia.
Oh,
It's like,
wow.
yeah, it's a bit tricky, but yeah. So I'm sure I'll get there.
Cool.
Definitely.
Well, hopefully we can hook up and maybe do a workshop or something here with some of my students. That'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. So you are based in Edinburgh?
I am based in Edinburgh, yeah.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for spending some time with me. I really appreciate it. And thank you for making the time difference thing work. People who don't know what's going on right now, I'm in Scotland where it's 10 in the morning, and Juzzie is in Australia where it's 7 something at night. And it was kind of that small window where we could make it work. And we made it work, which is brilliant.
Awesome. No, it's been a pleasure. Thanks.
Awesome. Well, take care. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Cheers.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of my Harmonica podcast. Please don't forget to subscribe and leave a review on your podcast service of choice. And if you're ready to take your harmonica playing to the next level, then you should check out my online harmonica school over at tomlinharmonicaschool.com. Happy harping!